It's fantasy playoff time, and you're going to need more courage than Mike Pettin if you want to win. Frickin' Hoyer. Let Johnny Football live in your heart. It's time for Keepers. Welcome to Keepers. I'm Matt Ufford, here to guide you through your fantasy playoffs. In case you're curious of my bona fides, I made the playoffs in 4 of my 6 leagues. In the other 2, well, maybe building an auction team around Monte Ball and Michael Floyd wasn't my best idea. Hey, thanks guys. Terrible work this season. Sit Ben Roethlisberger. In Big Ben's last 4 games against the Bengals, he's thrown just 4 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. And since he's as tough as ever against the pass this year, no team allows a lower passer rating, and they're giving up less than a passing touchdown per game, easily the best in the league. Start Kyle Rudolph. Now, he's not remotely a volume receiver, but the Jets are giving up a touchdown per game to tight ends more than any other team in the league. If you're stuck streaming tight ends week to week, Rudolph is probably the best free agent pickup you can make. Sit Fred Jackson. He's only scored 3 touchdowns all year, and Denver has been one of the stingiest rush defenses all season. Only the Lions are tougher against the run. In Denver's last 10 games, only 2 backs have rushed for more than 36 yards against them. 33-year-old Fred Jackson in a Kyle Orton offense is not the combination to beat that streak. Start Mark Ingram. Carolina's playing as poorly as any team in the league right now, and Ingram ran over the Panthers in the team's first meeting this season, going for 102 TDs. Expect the Saints offense to look like its old self again this Sunday, with plenty of Ingram carries to run the clock out in the second half. Sit Lamar Miller. He's quietly had an effective and consistent year, but the Ravens are the best team in the NFL at shutting down fantasy backs. With an opportunistic offensive coordinator like Bill Lazor, expect the Dolphins to attack the Ravens' depleted secondary instead of their ferocious front 7. Start the Minnesota defense. A week after the Vikes returned 2 blocked punts for touchdowns, they get the Jets at home, and only the Jaguars and Rams are more generous to fantasy defenses. Expect a big day for Everson Griffin and company. Sit Joe Flacco. Since week 7, Miami has allowed all quarterbacks not named Peyton Manning to throw for just 4 touchdowns while intercepting them 8 times and allowing only 181 passing yards per game. Joe Flacco isn't elite enough to turn that trend around. He's not elite at all. He never was, and his Super Bowl was a fluke. Yeah, there, I said it. Start Mike Wallace. Ordinarily, I'm terrified to say those 3 words together, but the Ravens are the worst in the league against fantasy wideouts, allowing a whopping 211 yards per game to wide receivers. That's even more than Atlanta, and the Falcons are starting a traffic cone opposite Des Trufant. So yeah, go ahead and start the Dolphins' top receiver. There is absolutely nothing interesting or possibly impactful about the weather in any of this week's games. A slight chance of snow in Minnesota bodes well for my call to start the Vikings defense, but there's not much else besides some rain across the country. Hey, it's even raining in California. Fantastic news for a state that's been mired in a horrific drought. Next stop, mudslides. Why? Because California is all about the natural disasters. Wildfires, earthquakes, mountain lion attacks. Hey, settle down, California. We already think you're pretty. Don't be such a drama queen. Hire Robert Woods and fire Wes Welker. With Sammy Watkins limited by a hip issue, Woods has gotten 18 targets for nearly 200 yards in Buffalo's last 2 games. As for Welker, he's had just 118 receiving yards and 1 TD over his last 6 games. To put that in perspective, DeAndre Hopkins had that much in each half last Sunday. Hire Jonathan Stewart and fire Alfred Blue. Even if D'Angelo Williams manages to play through his broken hand, Ron Rivera would be insane to not give the lion's share of the work to Stewart, who gave a spark to a ground game that's been otherwise lifeless all year. As for Blue, Arian Foster's return to the lineup combined with subpar play the last couple weeks means he doesn't merit a spot on your roster. Hire Ryan Fitzpatrick and fire Cam Newton. No, Fitzmagic is not going to repeat his 6 touchdown performance for you, but look at his schedule the next 3 weeks. At Jacksonville, at Indy, and versus Baltimore. Those are 3 QB-friendly matchups, and he'll be a steadier play than Newton, whose season has been undone by injury and a team-wide collapse. There's just no point in holding on to him anymore unless you have a dynasty league and high hopes for him next year. That is all for week 14 of Keepers. Thank you for watching, and good luck in the playoffs. Set your lineups. See you next week.